So when I was 6 years old, my dad actually led me to Christ in the cab of his truck. He was just telling me about Jesus and how I was a sinner and needed him. And I just remember closing my eyes and saying the prayer, and I just knew and felt in my heart that Jesus had done a work in me and had changed me. And growing up, I always had, 5 other siblings, always great testimonies for me. Of course, my family, they were all Christians, and so I had others to look up to. But then years later, whenever I joined the Marine Corps, I realized that it was a totally different environment that I had gotten myself into. And the people around me weren't the people that I was used to growing up with. And that some of them had never even heard of God. Some of them had heard of God and just, brushed it off as a joke or maybe a myth. And I realized that the people in the Marine Corps were, I guess, more harsh than I had ever been used to. Just the things that they would talk about, things that was on their mind, on their walls, pretty much every aspect of their life that I could notice was completely different and just wrong to what I was used to. So for about a little under a year now, I felt really lonely, really alone. No one I could really connect with, talk to anytime I needed someone to talk to. Anytime that I did grow, I didn't have anyone to share it with, and phone calls back home just wasn't suffice. But then one day, I remember I was looking for a church. I never liked the churches on base, but I was looking for a church out in town. I was just walking, and I saw the billboard, and it said Elevate New Song, and it was actually down by Seaside, by the Regal. And I just thought, I'll give it a shot. So I walked in there, and immediately was greeted with a hello, a good morning, a handshake, and just felt extremely comfortable from the very beginning. And got connected immediately. I just realized that the people there were extremely friendly and extremely genuine in their walk with Christ. The messages were super powerful. The praise and worship music was amazing. And it reminded me of back home, the church I had back home. And right then I knew that this church was doing great things. Ever since then, I've hadn't had the loneliness that I felt before. I've had amazing friends. I've met so many cool people. I've had all sorts of opportunities, trips. There's actually mission trips in the future that are going. And ever since I've come to Elevate, I realized that this is definitely the church for me and that God's working here and He's working in me through this church.